Finally, I can hear again. 1,000 voices, but what happened to mine? 1,000 voices, but what happened to mine?
It's more about the spoken form of language than it is about sound.
Line after line after line.
I tend to reconfigure language, found language from social media feeds, sort of thinking of going into sort of using the news as well, sort of current affairs kind of stuff.
You tell everyone everything, so no one knows anything, so you say nothing to no one.
So it's this kind of play with the language about public and personal and how much of the personal we make public. I came to Courtyard because we did an exhibition as part of uni. We came to do a small show at Courtyard and I really liked the place, so I asked if I could volunteer here. So I've been volunteering at Courtyard for the last year now in a pottery class with the kids, and then the opportunity for the residency came up, so I applied for that because I wanted to stick around. It was suggested for a long time while I was doing my BA. I was working with written text for a long time and I sort of hadn't managed to take that step into sound. It was unknown territory for me. I was quite comfortable with writing, but I hadn't branched into video or sound, and it was quite often suggested in crits that I did, and I just wasn't brave enough to take the leap. And then when I did, all of a sudden it was like an epiphany. It was like, yeah, that's exactly what I should be doing. This is the start of the process where I gather things that I've heard or read or thought about, kind of just, this is notes basically, and I just write everything down and it goes into one document, and then throughout my time here I'll consolidate it, turn it into a script that I'm happy with to then record. And I made a Twitter specifically for the project, really, as a writing tool. And I do a daily tweet where I write a journal for that day, which are quite often really long, and then condense them down, and they just turn into these strange little, almost concrete poetry. It's just kind of rearranging the words and taking words out of their original context and making them mean something else. And this is just an exercise to do that. And then I quite often use these, I'll copy them in here and use them as part of my scripts. I also use other people's tweets, news stories, just kind of all sorts of things that I find that I find an interesting use of language and interesting things to remove from their contexts. So I've got my desk here, which is where I do my writing and my research, so where I gather all my tweets and all my thoughts and ideas and just write them all down. Then I will go in here. This is a sound booth that I made. And it's padded for soundproofing, so it kind of gets rid of, because it's quite echo in here, it takes out some of the echo. So I take myself in here, shut myself in, and it records straight into my computer where I can edit it, cut out samples, layer them, make them sound how I want them to sound, and then the final piece will come out here and it will be played. There's surround sound speakers.
1,000 voices all at the same time, and they scream at me line after line
in
after
there,
line,
you're
and I'm trying
kind
to
of
forget them.
surrounded by the sound, because there's 6 speakers all the way around the edge, and when you're in there you can't see where the speakers come from. So it's quite disorientating, and the sound moves around you in kind of different configurations. Sometimes it goes around in circles, or it goes, you know, backwards and forwards kind of randomly. And you do kind of feel encapsulated in the sound, which is why I think it's important that it's black, because then, and it's dark, because you can't focus on any one point, and you do feel that kind of surround a bit more effectively. End of the first week. It's been really good to have people come in actually and hear the work and ask questions about the process. And people have been getting involved with the process, so people have been trying out recording their own voices and hearing it back through the computer. And everyone reacts differently to the work that's on show. I bought the work that I showed in my degree show just so people get an idea of as what the sound will probably end up something like. And everyone has a different reaction to it, because the content is so personal, but at the same time very public. So there's the combined kind of journal entries with public tweets. So everyone can relate to it on some kind of different level. And some people find the blackness quite claustrophobic and uncomfortable, and others really like it. One lady said she felt like she was in the womb, because she was kind of enveloped in sound and darkness. So that's been really interesting to hear people's reactions to the work. A real high point this week has been there was a large group of adults that came in, and at first they were quite unsure about what was going on, and they're a bit confused about the whole thing, and I played the work to them and explained about the texts and how the work kind of generates, showed